Hello everyone. My name is Alisa. Welcome to my channel. I hope you're all doing so good today. We are here to do the next episode of Now or Never, which is my version of a read it or unhaul it type of challenge. And this is episode 8, I believe. And today we are shifting back over to my paperback shelves. I've been on my hardback shelves for a little bit, but we're gonna shift over to this one down here and select a couple of books off of this shelf randomly and force me to read some of the books that have been on my TBR for forever. Like always, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a peek at the shelf. Here is the shelf in question. This is an exciting one, I feel like. So let me show you the ones I'm most excited about and the ones I'm scared to get picked. So most excited, I think I would pick Daryl. This one I got fairly recently, and I just read Little Lazarus, which was a Clash book, and really loved it. So I would be very happy to read another one, and that one feels very dramatic, and I'm kind of in the mood for that. Similarly, I'm sort of in the mood for I'm thinking of ending things. This I've had on my shelves for so long, and I'm kind of in for a psychologically twisty time, which I think this is. It's a psychological horror book. So those two, and then maybe also the Jhumpa Lahiri, Interpreter of Maladies. I would just love a reason to read my first Jhumpa Lahiri book, and I've heard that that is like one of her masterpieces. It's a short story collection. So those are the three I'm most excited for. For the ones that I am least excited for or most scared of, I think there's probably two on this list, and that is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. This is a romance, and I have DNF'd this book 3 separate times. Now, I did DNF it 3 separate times, all in the year leading up to my own wedding, when I was planning my own wedding. And this book starts out with like very stressful planning of a wedding, and I just could not read that. So I am nervous about that one just because I've DNF'd it so much, and I've never read a Christina Lauren before, so I'm not sure if they're going to be for me. And then otherwise, it's probably The Girl Who Drank the Moon, and this is just because it's middle grade. I think it is currently the only middle grade on my shelves because I just don't read it very often. So those are the ones I'm most and least excited for. Let's get back to the picks. Please let me know what you are interested in me reading off of these shelves. And I always like saying the ones that I'm scared of and want to read because it adds to the drama, really. And previously, I'd never gotten either, right? I never pulled either the ones I wanted the most or least. But last episode, I played myself and I got 2 of the books that I was least excited to read. So we'll see how this time goes. Okay, I just went and got the bag. I had left it over there. So I put all of the titles of the books in this bag here. So we're gonna zhuzh it up, and I'm gonna pull the first one. Okay, I have one. Let me set the bag down. All right, it's a long title. Fucking hell, okay. It's The Girl Who Drank the Moon, which is one of the only two books that I was nervous about. Okay, it's a middle grade. Let me grab it. Here's the book. Here is the book. Now, the only reason I've kept this is so beloved. It's won multiple awards. You can see the Newbery Award on here. And I rarely like a middle grade, but because it's so loved, I do think there's still a chance I will like this, and that's why I've kept it. So we are going to be reading this one. We'll see if it's a D enough or not. I think I'll know early on if I'm gonna like it and want to keep reading it, or if I'm gonna DNF it. So also it's very floppy, which I enjoy. So The Girl Who Drank the Moon. Let me set it down so I can pull another one from the bag. Please just don't be The Unhoneymooners, which is like the only other one I would prefer not to get. Okay, I have one. Setting the bag down. Oh, okay. This is Smothermoss by Alisa something. Let me grab it. Okay, this is Smothermoss by Alisa Alering, and it's published by Tin House. I should say this one Algonquin. It's got the A on the spine, but let me double check. Yes, it's an Algonquin young reader's book. This one is Tin House, and I got to see Alisa speak at the Portland Book Festival 2 years ago now, and I was already interested in this book, but she really sold it to me. I think it's about two young sisters who are growing up in the Appalachian Mountains, and there is a magical realism element where I think the mountain gets its own POV, and it shows you some of the like horrific tragedies that have happened upon that mountain. That is Smothermoss. I love this cover, and I do think I have it personalized. Yeah, I have it personalized and signed inside, and she even drew a little hair down there. So I'm excited to read this. This was a good pull, and actually these might be good together because I do think this has a sexual assault trigger warning in it and will be a little heavier. So this will be lighter to balance it out. So these are the two we've picked so far. Let me know what you thought about these two picks, and I will check back in with you once I've started reading one or both of them. Welcome back, people. We have an update for you, and this update is that I in fact read the entirety of The Girl Who Drank the Moon. This one is by Kelly Barnhill, and it's published by Algonquin. This was the middle grade. I decided to start here first because I felt like if there was one I was going to DNF between the two books, it was probably going to be this one, but clearly I ended up reading it and I thought it was very well done. I get why this won a lot of awards at the time. So let me give you the synopsis first. So we're following a couple POVs, but we have the witch. She is old at this point in time, and every year she finds a baby in the woods that has been left there to die. And she has taken upon herself to take that baby to a nearby town, into the loving arms of parents that are wanting to have a kid there. And the witch's name is Zan. Then we get another perspective, which is like the townspeople, in which they have a ritual where the youngest baby in the town at like the given sacrifice time needs to give up their baby to be sacrificed to the witch of the forest. Otherwise, the witch will retaliate against them and everyone will die. Now you can see that they already don't match up, right? The witch has no idea what's happening. She thinks she's saving the babies. The baby that gets left this year eventually gets named Luna. So I'm gonna call her Luna so it makes sense for you. And Zan finds Luna and is immediately taken with her, and she accidentally feeds Luna moonlight, which means that Luna becomes magical. So Zan decides to keep Luna herself and raise her so she can, when she's old enough, learn how to control her magic properly. Now, in the town perspective, we have two kind of main characters that we follow. One is at the beginning, he is a boy. I don't remember his name and it doesn't say it on the back. When he is a boy, he meets this mad woman who's been locked away in a tower. That we know the mad woman is Luna's mother, biological mother, and she's gone mad because she had to give away her baby, and they've found like calling her crazy is an easy way to shut her up. So the young boy meets her when he's young, and then he grows into a man, and he eventually is going to have the youngest baby that needs to get sacrificed, and he will not allow this to happen. So he goes off into the woods to find the witch and kill her. So we can see how all the storylines start to converge. So that's the general setup. Now, this has really great secondary characters. We have a dragon, we have a swamp monster, there's lots of fantastical creatures, and it has a real like found family vibe. The things that really stood out to me about this book, it has a wonderful variety of vocabulary, and I was really impressed with not just the vast amount of vocabulary, but that it was getting to vocabulary that I think is quite challenging, but I love that it's doing that for young readers and starting to put new words in their mouth that they can question and ask what it is. So I love that about it. And this is also trying to teach so many important lessons, important complicated lessons to young readers. It's, for example, trying to teach them about hypocrisy. It's trying to teach them about revenge and about forgiveness. You can see big in the back. It has so many, I think, really important lessons to be learned in this, and I get why it's such a standout for young readers. I would highly recommend this to anyone who I think is like 4th grade and above. I guess, like, you know, you can determine a specific kid's reading comprehension level, but I would say like 4th grade and above would be a great option. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a magical time. I enjoyed reading it, and would definitely recommend it. So that is The Girl Who Drank the Moon. Much more of a success than I thought it would be. I am going to still pass this book along because I don't think I need to keep it, right? Like, I'd rather it go to a kid who's going to read it. So I'm going to pass this one along, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Next time, I'll catch up with you once I've started Smothermoss, which is what I'm going to pick up next and I have high hopes for. So I will see you in a little bit. Have some updates for you on Smothermoss. I have started this, so I wanted to pop in before I got too far along just to give you a little bit of a synopsis and my initial thoughts going into the book. I am picking this up on audio, and I think that's important, and I'll tell you a little bit when I get into my review. So this book, I think maybe I said before, it's following mainly 2 sisters, and they live deep in Appalachia. They don't live really near many other people. And early on in the book, you get the sense that there's like a discord between the 2 of them. They're very different sisters. Sheila is the older sister and Angie is the younger sister. The kind of inciting incident of this book is that there is a murder. Well, there's 2 murders. 2 women are murdered on the mountain that is in sort of like their backyard. The Appalachian Trail runs through that mountain, and it's 2 female hikers who are brutally murdered. So there's this investigation going on in the background, but an important element to this is that there's sort of like an implication maybe that the 2 women were lesbians. And that's important because you know very early on, this is not a spoiler, that Sheila, the older sister, is also a lesbian. And so we're getting some commentary around being queer in a place like this and the danger of being queer in a place like this. So I'll kind of leave it there for now. And then Angie, the younger sister, is really impulsive, and she is deeply fascinated by catching the killer of the 2 women, and she starts to like show interest in trying to look into that. But she also kind of is a conspiracy theorist in a way. She believes that like the Russians are going to invade at any point in time. She thinks that inside the mountain there's a bunker where the president might hide. Like, she's got that really like childlike fantastical thinking, but with, I would say, like a violent bent to it. So that's a little setup for the sisters and the story itself. So overall, I'm finding this very good so far. I'm really enjoying it. Like I said, I am listening to it on audio, and I think that is a really good decision with this book because it does the accents so well. Like, it's very evocative, and I'm really enjoying that. I will say I'm also very happy to have the physical copy because there are illustrations at the beginning of every chapter. I'm just gonna pull one up so I can show you. In the beginning, the chapters are fairly long. So there are these little illustrations, and all of the illustrations are a combination of 3 different animals kind of like morphed together like that one. Here's another one so you can see, and they're quite beautiful and striking, and they do go along with the story. So I'm really enjoying looking at them in between. So far, I think the sisterly dynamic is a very fascinating one to follow. Both of the sisters feel intriguing and believable to me. The setting is done extremely well. I know Alisa Alering is from the area and very familiar with the area, so I think she does a great job of bringing it to life. And yeah, I just felt immediately sucked into this, and that's a great feeling with a book, to feel immediately sucked in. So really enjoying Smothermoss so far. I probably will check back in with you once I finish it. I'm very much anticipating that I will finish this and it won't be a DNF. So I'll check back in with you when I'm done. Welcome back. I have finished Smothermoss, so I want to talk to you about it because I continued to enjoy this book the whole time, and this was such a surprise for me. I'd been wanting to read it. Obviously, I own it because I was interested in it, but I thoroughly enjoyed this one. I was very captivated the entire time I was reading it. This, like I said earlier, is mainly about 2 sisters, Sheila, the older sister, and Angie. And continuing what I said from before, I'll say like there's a lot of plot going on in this book, right? We kind of have like the mystery of who murdered the 2 female hikers. We have stuff going on about both of the sisters' identities. We have like their family in general. They live in a house with their mother and their grandmother. There's stuff that's going on with that. And then there's also the speculative or like magical realism elements, of which there are a number of ways that pops up in the book. One that you know from the blurb, and I think maybe I said in the beginning, is you get some perspective from the mountain itself that they live very close to. And I think I know this from the author talk that part of the reason why Alisa Alering did that is those are some of the more harrowing scenes, and she just couldn't bring herself to write that in a standard way, and it felt easier to see those scenes from the perspective of the mountain. And I would agree, it helped them to feel more like they were there to be observed in the larger context of the theme of the story rather than to be like a horrifying graphic scene. So I appreciated that choice in the book. But there are other speculative elements that go on in here as well. I normally am not like a magical realism reader, and this I thoroughly enjoyed. I thought it was well done. It still felt like it worked within the story. It didn't pull me out of it because it felt like just like a convenient magical thing that was happening to move the story along. I think it was really well earned, and it does tie into like this idea of the land being alive and a level of like mysticism or spiritualism that I think is also like common. So some themes that I really liked about this book is I really did love the foiling of the 2 sisters around queer identity. In particular, Sheila, the oldest sister, is a lesbian but feels very afraid to own that truth, and we get to see some like physical manifestations of that show up for her. And then the younger sister, Angie, who is not queer, is actually bullied for being queer. She's often called a lesbian at school, even though she's not, and Sheila is. So there's some like strange projection stuff happening there between the 2 of them. And another thing I thought was really interesting about this book is it's almost absent of men in the entire story. You hear about men, but it's always their absence. So there is this man that's murdered 2 women, but you don't know who it is or where he is. The 2 sisters have a brother who's in prison, and so he's not there. their father has died, so he's not there. Yeah, it's just fascinating. I don't want to give any spoilers. It's really hard not to spoil this and talk about the themes because things really wrap up together at the end. But if you're looking for a story that's talking about class, that's talking about gender, that's talking about queerness in a really unique way, and looking for like a coming of age that tackles those themes, this is an amazing book. I thoroughly enjoyed it and will be recommending this to other people. So that is Smothermoss. And that is the end of this video because I read 2 books. I think the other book is over here. Yes. So for this episode, we read these 2 books, both of the ones I pulled, no DNFs, and I enjoyed both of these. I had a good time with them and would recommend both of them. This one will be leaving my collection, like I said earlier, but that's more just because I'm not the target demographic and I want it to go to someone that is the target demographic. And this one I will be keeping and thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm excited to see what Alisa Alering comes up with next and had a great time. So overall, a successful episode. Let me know if you've read either of these books and if so, what you thought about them. And also let me know if there's any other books on that shelf that you wish I would have picked. I feel like the shelf I picked from had some heavy hitters on it that people want me to read, that have mentioned in the comments they want me to read before. So let me know if there's anything really there that you think I should prioritize. And I will see you all in the next episode. Bye.